Hey guys, Omni here. We're going to be jumping into episode 5 of Andor today. If you want to see my thoughts on the previous episodes, go check those out. I got the reactions up on the channel now, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time introing this one. We're going to go ahead and hop right in. So if you want to see the full-length reaction to this, you can check it out over on Patreon, or if you become a member of the channel, it gets you access as well. It is watch-along format, so you can just see Imperial footage with a time code, see my reaction to the entire episode. You get the same thing for all the other shows we cover here on the channel. You also get to suggest and then vote on what movies we react to each month. We got monthly Q&As, behind-the-scenes footage to try to make it worth your while, since you are going to way support the channel. But of course, I know never can do that, and a simple way you can help us out is just by liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing these videos, because it really does go a long way with helping the channel grow here on YouTube. If you're new, if you're tuning in for the first time, I hope you enjoy the reaction. If you do, maybe you'll stick around and hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. With that all said and out of the way, guys, let's go ahead and hop into episode 5. Here we go.
Cyril, you're slouching.
Mail runes.
Is that how you've been presenting yourself to the world? That would explain a great deal. Being a leader isn't something one just turns on and off. By the time you remember to sit up straight, it's too late. You might as well wear a sign that says, "I promise to disappoint you."
What the fuck?
I intuit you have no future prospects.
I've forgotten the precision of your predictive powers.
You've remembered how to mock me.
Forgotten how sensitive you can be.
Perhaps you've forgotten my question. Do you have even a single prospect before you?
I'll find a way.
I'm calling Uncle Harlow.
What is it you'll be asking for?
Someone who'll take you on, Cyril.
Setting the bar high, are we?
Uncle Harlow
Cyril
knows
Pegasus.
best.
Corporate issue. Interesting. There's no sense being upset. You know what this means, don't you? Yeah, I saw your eyes go right to it.
Great head.
What about this?
By the hand.
So where were you?
Sipo.
They built a lot of cages, huh? The axe forgets, but the tree remembers. Now it's our turn to do the chopping.
So that's it. That's why you're here? Revenge?
Yeah, that's good enough for now. You?
I'm here to win and walk away.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
It was an interesting interaction. I like that.
Driver's here.
Cloris.
Yes.
You know his name. Is Leader ready?
I'm not sure.
Where is she?
Just
Leader?
the subtle, just like jabs.
Did you eat?
When would that have happened? Just came down.
Take something for the ride.
What?
We need to be going.
Oh, change in plan. Dad's taking me. You're taking me, right?
I'm gonna clear it with her.
I don't have early class today.
We planned this.
You did?
The point is, we have a schedule. The driver's waiting. I've planned on this and we're going.
You're only doing it to show off.
What?
Just go.
What would I be showing off?
You're involved somehow.
Well, that's just...
Nobody cares. You can relax.
That's just so hurtful.
See? There you go.
Go where?
That's my point. It's all about you, isn't it? It's always all about you.
Is this really how you'd like to start the day?
I didn't choose this conversation.
Oh my gosh.
I so appreciate the support.
Wow.
We've grown reliant on Imperial tech, and we've made ourselves vulnerable. There's a growing list of things we've known and forgotten, things they've pushed us to forget. Things like... The pace of repression outstrips our ability to understand it, and that is the real trick of the Imperial thought machine. It's easier to hide behind 40 atrocities than a single incident. This charts an astral path, this maps the trail of political consciousness. Both systems based on truth, both navigating toward clear and achievable outcomes. Basic facts expanding...
I like him, man.
Obviously, it's a track launch, so there's an adjusted thrust ratio to make it up the ramp.
Okay.
It's on an overhead rail.
Has to be, yeah.
So calibrating the weight.
What about it?
How would you do it?
How would I know the weight? Is this a test?
It's a simple question.
You don't know how to get it off the runway, do you?
We know how to fly it.
Yeah, but you gotta get it up there first.
Answer the question.
You really don't. Do you? You don't know how to get it out of there.
How do you input the weight?
There's a load clutch. It's a big ugly handle just right next to the booster throttle. There's a gauge just below to read out the weight.
Why isn't this in the manual?
Because it's a custom job. It's an add-on. What were you gonna do if I wasn't here?
Might have been ugly, but we'd have figured it out.
We wanted to be sure.
No. Okay. I'll try it.
Well, you do as you're told.
I'm flying it. We can say it's your idea. I don't care, but if it's my ass on the line, I'm pulling this thing out of there.
Oh, he's really putting himself into this to make sure this doesn't fucking blow over. We'll see how that goes. He was supposed to be redundancy, but now it's pretty much like he's got to be there.
Can you walk like a soldier?
I've seen it done.
Let's find out if you've been paying attention. Form up!
Yeah, it does seem like, I don't know, like I think like the little like the weight calculation question might sound a little bit like a test as well, but they also showed just like a little bit of the shakiness in their plan and their prep until, I don't know, now it definitely does seem like everything is a little bit of a test.
Let's walk it again at speed.
You should switch.
What?
He's left-handed. Should swap sides.
Why don't you get a handle on what we're doing here before you start making suggestions?
Why? Why switch sides?
Skin is left-handed. You want your weapon on the outside.
What am I?
Right-handed.
Taramin?
Right.
Center?
Right.
Nemec?
Favors right, but shoots left.
Fine. Let's switch.
Man, he's I don't know, definitely ruffling some feathers, but he's showing he's got some worth to bring to this thing. Man, I love the sound design.
Not too many Darnies to worry about anymore, though, eh? How many do you think we'll have tomorrow?
I don't know. It's less than 100 last time.
Still enough to smell them, right? Can you imagine this place with a couple of thousand of them?
Yes. I can. Get about your business, Corporal. I'll be making rounds.
Hey, what are you doing? I'm just moving your stuff.
Don't.
It was in the way.
Don't ever.
I thought you were checking the comms. Hey.
Fondor, targeting consoles from Jakku, proton warheads from Base K, the Steerguard star path.
He's right, though. Just too spread out to be organized.
But you don't believe that?
If I was them, this is how I'd do it. I'd spread it out. Never climb the same fence twice.
It's too random to be random.
What? I get it.
2 more files each.
A little too random.
Look, it's Raph. Yeah, a little too Raph. That it was a large enough mistake to be deeply educational.
Yes, I heard some of that.
Our conversation.
Your side of it, hard to miss. Sadly, I wasn't able to study Uncle Harlow's response.
He knows how much we're counting on him.
It's rough, man. Kind of telling, though, as to how he turned out.
Lieutenant Gorn. What's an Imperial lieutenant doing getting involved with this?
He fell in love with a local woman and lost a promotion. Then he lost the woman. Then he lost his taste for the Empire. Everyone has their own rebellion.
Oh, that's gorgeous, man.
Don't move. Because you know what'll happen.
Hey, what are you doing?
There we go. I knew it. He comes in with nothing but the clothes on his back and a stone worth 30,000 credits.
You have a problem, you come to me.
Here I am. I've topped out on Questionsville. I have reached my limit.
Wow.
He won't say why he's here, where he's from. He doesn't say what he believes in, and now this. I need to know who I'm riding with.
You know exactly who I am. And you know I'll kill you for it.
Put the weapon away. Give him the stone. You can kill each other later.
I'm here for the money. You can't live with that? I'm not worth it? I'll walk away and wish you luck. But that's what it is. I don't want to walk in looking over my shoulder.
You should have told us days ago.
Maybe so.
It just would have been something else.
What's that mean?
The day before is always hard. Too much time to worry.
You think we're scared?
I know you are.
It's really only the money.
To take a risk like this? Come on.
Maybe you're the one that's afraid.
Of course I'm afraid. But there's a difference between fear and losing your nerve. You want out of this. Make a choice. Don't use me as an excuse.
Cinta.
Let's get to the camp in one piece. You can all chew on it there. All of you. Move.
That hurt the kid too, because he really did think he had a taste for the rebellion, for the cause. A little bit naive that way.
You saw me talking to Garth, have you?
You're busy tonight.
He knows more about what you're up to than I do.
Must be embarrassing.
When were you planning to tell me about this new foundation?
Didn't think you'd be interested.
Why is that?
It's charitable.
What's his name?
Cloris.
Cloris?
Sir.
Do you mind taking the expressway?
God, man. Every time we cut to them, it's just like, it's like sandpaper seeing them interact with one another in the best of ways. Like, I love it, but like the situation that they're both in, the tension between those two and the every word shared is just so unnerving. Just as uncomfortable as I get, like every one of these scenes has to be between the characters, and I think that's just so well done. I wonder how Cyril's going to get wrapped back into all of this. I don't think he's going to sit down and take this handout from his uncle, but we don't know what that handout's going to be yet.
She wants me to tell you about my brother. There's a long version, but what matters is they killed him. He was a farmer. Imperial prefect came in, took his land, flooded it. He couldn't fight him. He couldn't bear it, so he went in a boat and filled his pockets with stones. I always hated the Empire. I don't really know what to call how I feel now.
What kind of farm?
Trees. Pepper trees. Centuries of them. That's as close to an apology as you're gonna get.
It's close enough.
I thought you were turning it off.
I was just going to.
You said that an hour ago. There's nothing coming through tonight. You want to be useful, go clean some coins.
Have you checked your walk-away pack?
Yes.
And the one on the fonder?
I don't like seeing you nervous. There's nothing else you can do, Luthen. They're either going to be okay out there or they're not.
What? That's a daring prediction.
Bel's the only one who traces back.
No. The thief, Andor. I wasn't careful.
You wanted this to happen. This is what it took. It's never going to be perfect.
I wanted it too much.
It'll all be over this time tomorrow.
Or we just be starting?
All that?
Wait a second. I have to go back. I think that was a Road PSA 1. Like, mount arm back there and like painted as something. All right, man. Very much like I feel like if I remember correctly, these are segmented in like every like 3 episodes is kind of like its own little pod. So like 4 was like the lead in, the introduction to like the group, the heist itself. This is the prep. And much like where 1, 2, and 3 for the stuff on Ferrix concluded in the third one, I think we're going to have the heist. Obviously, you know, based on that conversation, the heist happens tomorrow in world time. And just seeing how nervous Luther is to it, about this going, rightfully so, is a lot of it's just interesting to see like just how kind of itchy he is kind of on the outcome. But I don't know exactly how it traces back to him, because it's not like he gave Andor any information on him. I mean, he knows his ship. I mean, he gave him the crystal, the kyber crystal. But I don't know if anything inherently other than he knows what he looks like without his wig. I don't think he really gave him much of information to like for it to really fall back on him. But I don't know. Watching Cyril kind of come home with his tail between his legs, you know, it's kind of like sad at this point. Just kind of because like what I thought, like what seemed like kind of a heartwarming little thing with his mom welcoming him back home, even though yes, she did slap him, but obviously because, you know, we could make our assumptions about how that relationship had went. Maybe he had gone off with his ambitions and not stayed in touch. And that is kind of true, but it's like for some reasons where it feels like even a bit of a colder relationship between the two than that welcoming kind of garnered whatever. I she's just so condescending and judgmental on like every level while he's just eating his fucking space cereal. Eating his cereal. Well, not eating it because he didn't touch it at all except playing with it. She's like looking out for a family member for a handout for her disappointment son. Is this the tone of that entire conversation those two had? And he's still got that hollow of Cassian, and I just don't see him letting it go. You know, he's fallen. I feel like he's gonna have to try to find a way to dig himself out of this rut. And I don't know if taking that handout is gonna be what he does. I mean, he's on Coruscant. We know the ISB is trying to figure out what's going on. If he and that ISB agent, ISB officer, maybe come together, maybe they work this whole thing out. Because we have the other ISB guy who's actively on Ferrix, investigating all this stuff, setting up a home base on all that. But then we have, I don't remember her name, the officer who's missing the Starpath unit, who's trying to track this down with her assistant to try to put together and assemble like some kind of cohesive story about these seemingly random thefts, missing items, and whatnot, as they said, feel a little too random. And I can't wait to see that story kind of progress. And I have to imagine she's probably going to line up with Cyril, and they'll go kind of barking up that tree to find Cassian and find this, kind of start to ruffle the feathers of this rebellion up a little bit. At least that's kind of my thought. I could be completely off on that. I really liked the navigation of this heist crew, about how they're just kind of like poking Cassian the entire time, trying to get any information out of him whatsoever, or try to like like he said, find any excuse for this to not work so they can just blame it on him to call it off. You know, he's like, can you do this thing? Do you know what this is? Can you walk like a soldier? Why are you here? Blah, 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 blah. All these little things here and there. And I get it. Like, it's a very risky situation, but at the same time, I do think after he said it, it does seem a little apparent that, like, they are so kind of shaken up about this whole thing. And he was like, I loved when he kind of called him out on it. It's like, hey, I'm paid here to be here. So, like, I'm here for the money. So, like, I have to do this or I don't get paid. So, like, it's very black and white for him. Maybe he's not as involved, and I don't believe... I believe he believes that's why he's here. I think he is kind of like what Luthen said on the ship, is really looking to put a hurt on the Empire, regardless. This is just kind of icing on the cake, and I think he's just kind of afraid to admit that this is something that could be possible. He's afraid to believe that this can work in a way, or doubtful that this would make an impact in the grand scheme of things. So this is his own justification, but he makes a valid, strong point out of all that. You know, they all have these kind of like personal vendettas that bring them all to the table, that can waver, can falter, can change, can shift. But like, when you're paid to do a job, you're paid to do a job. And if he doesn't do the job, he doesn't get anything out of it. If he dies, if he fails, if he does this wrong, he's not going to get paid. There's no benefit for him. Admitting that he's being paid for this, it really does show that, like, failure brings him nothing. So, I don't know. I like that whole bit. But, like, the disillusionment that I gave in, like, the younger kid who's just so passionate about all of this, and, you know, he's like, I believe I think he's a true believer in all that, like, all this. Like, he was very hopeful and positive because he's trying to put that out into the world, I think. Like, garner that and kind of fan that flame a little bit. Also to kind of lift his own spirits, but like I really also like that whole like spiel that he went on about oppression and all that. There's a lot of really great moments in this. Now the what's his name? The guy with the tattoos and stuff that initially was talking to Cassian and was going through his stuff and all of that. It went over my head a little bit what the tattoos actually meant. So if anybody can kind of clarify that in the comments, I'd really appreciate that. I'd love to know because I'm very curious about that. But yeah, this is Heist Eve. The heist takes place tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. The Mon Mothma scenes, her and her husband and her daughter. Just seeing like the family level behind the scenes of some of these characters, man, is really interesting. And this fractured relationship to the point where, like, you know, her father is favored by her daughter, it seems, in this point, you know, because I guess, I mean, we don't really know the depths of it, but it sounds like, you know, this is like, you know, everything's like a little bit of a political move. Everything is a game. Everything is supposedly about Mon Mothma. And I think that's because they don't know, obviously, what she's doing, what these things are for, and why she's doing these things. But it just, I don't know how much of it is a sacrifice of her path of righting the galaxy, and how much of this is just a failure on her part as a politician, as a wife, as a mother. I don't know. But I'm very intrigued about seeing just these little things. And all of those scenes are so expertly acted that they are so incredibly awkward to watch. And I love it. Like, those scenes are so well done and well crafted. But I'm wondering where that, if at all, like where that's going to go, how that's going to pay off. Or if it's just kind of world building and kind of fleshing out this character, showing us like the daily life of Mon Mothma a little bit. I don't know. Either way, I'll be completely fine with whichever outcome we get. but it is kind of interesting to kind of see that. I think right now, just gut instinct, I get the feeling that it's kind of showing us that to kind of show us kind of the effects, the passive effects of these steps that she's taking, the risks that she's taking, the path that she's on, like the consequences of that. Because I mean, for something like this, yeah, I mean, sacrificing that relationship for the greater good would be something you would have to do if it came down to it. So I don't know, man. It was a really interesting series of scenes, but guys, what'd you think of the episode? Sound off the comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. We'll carry on the conversation after the video. Feel free to join us in our Discord. We can talk about it there as well. Links to that in all my social description box below. Follow me in each and every one of those. Remember, if you want to see the full-length reaction to this, you can check it out over on Patreon, or if you become a member of the channel, it gets you access as well. Before we go, I want to shout out our channel legends: Benny Sherritt, Ryan Karen, Philly Vane, Yori Corey Scott, Margaret Grace, Melito, Robert Anguiano, Raven McCann, Status Alive, Jeffrey Hale, and M. Sephiroth. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. But that's it for this video, guys. I'll see you all in the next one. May the Force be with you always. Take care, everybody.